iPod Touch 5th Generation Take-Apart Guide. You will first need to get your flat tool to remove the display. You will insert the flat tool in between the metal back case and the plastic trim. There are 4 clips on each side of the display that will need to be released. Once these clips are released, the display will lift up from the bottom. The LCD and digitizer flex cables at the top will be the only things that are keeping the display from being removed. Now you will need to remove the midboard. You will need to remove the 12 small Phillips screws to remove it. Now that the screws have been removed, you can use your flat tool to pry the midboard out. Once the midboard is loose, you can then use your flat tool to carefully remove the home button flex cable from the midboard. The flex cable is only held down with adhesive. Next, remove all of the Phillips screws from the logic board. Now remove the Phillips screws from the power button bracket and the Wi-Fi antenna at the top of the iPod. Next, use an iPod take-apart tool to carefully remove the battery. It is only held in place with adhesive, so be careful while prying to not puncture the battery. Now carefully lift up the Wi-Fi antenna to separate it from the back case. You can then lift the logic board up just enough to be able to see the flex cable connections on the back side. Now use your flat tool to disconnect the rear-facing camera flex cable from the logic board. Next, remove the Phillips screws that are holding down the volume button assembly. And then use a pry tool to carefully lift the volume flex cable from the back case. It is only held down with adhesive, but you'll need to be careful because the small, thin cable can easily be torn. Once you have disconnected the volume and power flex cable from the back case, the back of the logic board can then be more easily accessed. Now you will need to use a flat tool to disconnect the volume power flex cable connection from the logic board. Once you have done this, the flex cable assembly can be removed. Next, use your flat tool to disconnect the LCD and digitizer cable connections from the logic board. You will also need to remove the front-facing camera from the display. Once you have done this, the display assembly can be removed. You can also remove the rear-facing camera from the volume power flex cable assembly by simply pressing the camera out of its mounting bracket that surrounds the camera. Next, you will need to remove the Phillips screws that are holding down the lightning port assembly and the headphone board assembly. There is also a Phillips screw under the black tape that is located on the lower right side of the headphone board. Once all of the screws have been removed, you can then completely remove the logic board from the back case. And last, you will notice that the volume buttons and the power button can easily be removed from the back case.